Hey guys, today we're going to talk about what electric bike size motor do you need. Stick around. All right, so today we're going to talk about what electric bike size motor do you need for your type of riding. But before I do, hit subscribe there below, be a part of the 630 channel, and the first to know about all the new content and products we're putting out here at 630, so hit subscribe. All right, right now there are tons of different electric bike motors out there, different sizes, 250 watt, 350 watt, 500 watt, 750 watt. It's hard to decipher what size do I need. Let me give you some tips today on what size motor is right for you and what to look for when you're purchasing. Now, there's many factors to consider when thinking about the motor size you need. One is price. Two is the type of terrain you're going to be riding. Three is your weight and the size of the rider. And I think four is also distance to some extent. And then five is like, what kind of speeds are you looking to go? How fast do you want to go? So behind you, I have two 630 bikes. These are actually 500 watt motors. And you can see the batteries in the back. We also make a few 250 watt and soon to be 750 watt. Now, with a 250 watt, 350 watt motor, these are ideally going to be best for flat ground riding. The distance is really, across the motor sizes, it can really be any distance. But I would say a 250 watt motor is really going to be best for flat ground riding, light hills, but no major hills. And if you're a rider 250 pounds or over, I really wouldn't consider a 250 watt for you. I'm 215. Now, I can do a 250 watt on flat ground and it propels me just fine. But if I were to encounter some larger hills at 215, I would really want at least a 500 watt motor to help get me up there. So the bigger motor is going to give you the possibility of larger hills, different terrain that you wouldn't have to worry about it. Whereas on a 250 watt, again, you're really going to want to stay on flat ground for the most part. If you're a lighter rider, I would say like 160 and below, then 250 watt really will be great for you in most scenarios. Even bigger hills, the 250 watt should be able to handle your weight up most hills. And flat ground would be fine. And a 250 watt motor top speed at full throttle, you're going to be looking at about 18 to 20 miles an hour. And pedal assist, you're going to be probably 22, 20. You're probably going to cruise at about 15. So the speed is actually pretty good. Now, that top speed is going to diminish the heavier you get. So obviously, again, if you're 250 on a 250 watt, it may not be able to get you as fast as someone who's 160. So you're really going to want to be 250 pounds and below for a 250 watt motor, mostly flat ground riding. Ideally, you're not towing anything. You're not carrying a lot of, capacity with you. Just a great recreational leisure e-bike to get around, drive by the beach, have fun. The other thing to consider with all of these motors, generally speaking, the larger the motor, the more expensive. So if you're, you are 250 pounds and over, but it's only affordable for you to get a 250 watt motor, then you just maybe want to consider your terrain. If you can stick to flat ground, it should be fine for you. If that saves you $200, $300, $400, $500, that can be an option. But it's going to be better to spend a little more money to get the motor that's going to take you the places that you plan to go versus spending a bunch of money and it can't even, take you on the rides that you're looking to do. All right, moving up to 500 watts. Now, this is going to be great, obviously, for anyone under 250. I would say it's also going to be fine for anyone up to 300 pounds. This is going to get you up hills. It's going to get you around town. It's going to take you top speeds of 20 miles an hour with the throttle and about 25 to 28 with pedal assist, depending on how fast you're pedaling. Now, the 500 watt is great because it's going to be less expensive than a 750 watt, typically speaking. But it's going to give you enough power for most of the things that you want to do. So if you are a lighter rider and you just want to go faster, then you can opt for a 500 watt. It's going to have more spunk to it. It's going to get you going faster. It's going to take you up hills even easier. On a 250 watt, You might not be able to use just the throttle up a hill. With a 500 watt, you could probably just do throttle to get up hills. You don't even have to use the pedal assist if you so choose. The other thing I'll say between the 250 and the 500 watt is if you're scared of the power, and I will say that with the pedal assist, the bigger you go, there is a little jolt from the pedal, right? So the larger the motor, when you start pedaling, it does kick in a little stronger. Now, you do have different levels on here, 1 through 5, but pedal assist level 1 on a 250 versus a 500 is obviously going to be stronger. So something to consider that, if you're a more cautious rider and you're really scared of the power and you don't want to crash, stick to a lower speed. I'm making general recommendations, but again, if you don't necessarily need more power, let's say you are 250 pounds, but you don't want something that's going to be crazy powerful, opt for the smaller motor by all means. So 500 watt, it's going to be very versatile. It's going to take you everywhere you go. You're going to be able to cruise at nice speeds on flat ground. You're going to be able to do most hills. Again, this is up to 300 pounds. Now, if you're 300 pounds or above, or even 250 to 300, 750 watt is going to be a great consideration. I personally don't believe most riders need 750 watt. Now, if you can get something at a good price for 750 watt, by all means do it. It's going to be able to take you faster, but there are laws and regulations, sometimes speed limitations. In California, you can have up to a 750 watt motor, but again, that's going to be very powerful. You're going to be able to easily go 28 miles an hour with pedal assist. You probably can go 22, 23 with a full throttle, depending on the motor, which type of 750 watt motor. Although some are regulated to go only 20 because that's the law. That's another thing, is that in California, you're actually regulated by throttle only to go 20 miles an hour. A 500 watt is going to get you to 20 miles an hour with the throttle. So you could ask yourself, well, why do I need the 750 watt? You can also take them off-roading. So if you are looking to do off-roading or terrain or paths, I would opt for a larger motor, 550, 750 watt, because there's going to be more drag on the wheels if you're driving on like a hard-packed dirt or a sand or a gravel, something of that nature. So if you're looking for a fat tire bike, the larger motors are a good option, because with a lower motor with the fat tires, there's more drag. That's going to pull the bike back. You're not going to be able to go as fast. So that's another thing I didn't mention, but it also depends on which type of e-bike are you looking at. Are you looking at a mountain bike? Are you looking at something for around town? That really will also dictate, also, does it have fat tires, thin tires? Again, a thin tire e-bike, 500 watts might be better or be okay because there's no drag on the wheel. If you have fat tires, 500 to 750 watt is going to be best. If you're just doing off-road riding, you might want to go 750 watt only, depending on the terrain. Again, if it's very hard packed like dirt, gravel, sand, 500 watt will be enough. But if it's uphill climbs with fat tires in those type of terrain, then yes, you're going to want 750 watt. Then factor in the weight of the rider. You'll want a big motor. Now, I just spewed out a lot of things there. All of this is just general principles. I think at the end of the day, you have to think about how much power do you want, how fast do you want to go, what type of terrain you're going to be riding on. When you're on that terrain, how fast do you want, how much assistance are you looking for the bike to give you is another thing. If you're not looking for a lot of assistance, save yourself a few bucks and get a 250 watt. If you're looking to maybe have the bike do all the work in some situations, opt for a 750 or 500 watt, depending on the type of terrain that you're doing. So if you're comparing apples to apples and you can find a 750 watt for a similar price as a 250 watt, and you think to yourself, why not just get the bigger motor? The one thing I would say to you is not necessarily, because having that extra power is going to add a little bit of danger. It's going to add a little bit more performance. It's going to tempt you to go faster, and think to yourself, do I really need that? Honestly, do I really need that? The other thing that comes with a bigger motor a lot of times is going to be a bigger battery. When you have a bigger battery, price is going to go up. Also, bigger motor a lot of times is going to drain the battery quicker if you're working it harder. So I think like everything, like buying an SUV or buying a sedan, SUVs might be great. They have more space, but you're going to burn more gas. So in thinking about everything I say today, you have to find the right combination that is right to you, which is why when I always talk to people about what kind of e-bike, it's really about their riding needs. And unfortunately, you may not be able to discover what you actually will do with the e-bike till you get one and you get out and riding, which is totally fine. So maybe you go with more of an entry-level model to begin with. It's something you ride for a year or two, and then you move into your next one later on where you figure out, oh, I really want to do this, or I do like doing this, or I wish I had this capability. Or if you can rent an e-bike. I think with e-bikes, what I see with a lot of people is they don't realize the possibilities. So after they get one, they start to discover, oh my gosh, I could go this far, do this far, do this far. And so the possibilities become endless. So it may take you till your second e-bike for you to really settle into the one that is going to be best for you. And as your riding habits evolve, you may evolve the motor size. So again, have to think about what's number one to you, whether it's price, whether it's speed, and then, kind of work your way to your decision-making process, through your decision-making process that way. And over time and riding, you'll be able to figure out what's best for you. So I hope that helps on deciding what electric bike motor size is right for you. If you have any questions, please comment below or call us 310-982-2877 or email us, theteam@sixthreezero.com. We manufacture a whole slew of 500 watt, 250 watt, and to come 750 watt e-bikes. You can check out two back here on our website. Also, take our proprietary body fit quiz on our website, answer a few questions about your body and your life, and we'll recommend the perfect e-bike for you. We also have a test ride your e-bike policy for 30 days. If you don't love your e-bike within the first 30 days, send it back, no questions asked, no money out of your pocket. In addition to that, be a part of our community, Facebook Peddlers group, and also our app. Before you purchase, join them both. It's a great place to see how other people are riding their 630 e-bikes. You can ask questions, see photos of bikes. Also on the app, you can see the miles people are logging on their e-bike. And then once you join our community, download the app and be a part of that. Track your rides, compete on the leaderboard. Also share photos in the Facebook Peddlers group and be a part of the community. It is a ton of fun. Thank you for sticking around, and don't forget, it's your journey, your experience. Enjoy the ride.